everybody, and welcome to Kickin on a Blue Couch podcast. I am your host, Casey, and we are here with my co-host.
Hi guys, I'm Linnea.
And we have a very special guest joining us today, Miss Kiana.
Hey.
Kiana, tell us your credentials.
So my name is Kiana Brown. I am currently in school getting my MSW. I have a MPA, which is Masters of Public Administration and Human Resources, and I have a bachelor's degree in sociology. I just recently started Keys Consulting about a year ago, where we dive more into like finances, credit repair, business credit, business formation, anything pretty much business related.
Okay, and Kiana made the perfect guest for us today because we are talking mental health and finances. So are we a product of our environment or are we a product of our circumstances? And this is the episode for me because my anxiety paired with anything finances always shoots through the roof. And I know I'm not the only one who can relate to struggling with getting on track with financial things. On paper, I got it. On paper, it might look like I got it. Even when you see me, it might look like I got it. But when it comes to balancing things and saving, that's a big struggle for me. And it's always been a big struggle for me. And growing up, I wasn't really taught, or in school, we weren't really taught the tools to plan for vacations or plan savings or smart spending, smart investing or buying, and those are things that we missed out on. So as an adult, I'm trying to figure that stuff out.
Kind of like miscalculation.
Yes. That's
with
probably,
thinking you have this much and then it's like, where did all this money go?
Yes, that's probably exactly what it is. And so I'm sure I'm not the only one who can relate to that. So I have a question for you both. Growing up, I said that, that's something that I just didn't get. Was that information that was poured into you as a child? Like, did your parents show something that you picked up on, or did you have to figure it out?
I actually picked up on the bad habits that they had, which in turn I chose to always plan ahead versus dealing the way that they dealt, because I never wanted to be in a situation where I'm completely stuck or SOL.
Okay. What about you?
So a little background, I was raised by my grandmother who was born in the 40s.
Oh, okay.
I do remember, her never telling us that she didn't have it, but I remember always taking the credit card everywhere we went.
Mm-hmm.
Like, school things that needed to be bought, my mom would give us the credit card. Paying for the monthly bill, she used the credit card, but I never really understood what the purpose was. I did know that she had a good credit score because my aunt would, ask to co-sign things. But it was never taught. It was never taught by my mom, my grandmother, or my dad. So
it's funny that you mentioned the credit card because for me, what I took from my parents and my mom, cash is her thing.
Cash was king.
Not for me, and I hate carrying cash, but my mom never said no, not right now, no, you can't have it. It's always like, okay, let's go to the store, let's do this. But she was paying in cash. But now I see the power of having a credit card. But it's not something that I picked up on from my parents. It was always cash.
Credit cards wasn't a thing when I was younger. Cash was definitely king, but that was possibly because their credit was probably so bad that they couldn't even figure out where to start, or they didn't have any. No credit is just as bad as bad credit.
And credit is still a touchy thing for a lot of people right now because, you see a lot of people trying to now focus on credit and get it together. And I think that's all I see over my timeline sometimes is people focusing on their credit score, and I think that's great. But if we would have known about how to take care of that number sooner, would we have done something different?
Or understanding, like, how credit came about. But that's a different conversation for a whole nother day.
That's something I still don't know. I remember being in college and Of course, I went to school in loans.
Hello.
And, and I remember one of my friends was telling me about like private loans that weren't good, that didn't go to the school. And I was like, you mean we could get those? I knew nothing about credit, like nothing about credit. So I tried it and it worked, and I didn't know that it would catch up to me later on. So focusing on being able to learn and understand and know about your credit, and that's something that I'm going to make sure I instill in my child, is that we have to pay attention to things like this. Just because we have access to these things at one point doesn't say how it's gonna harm us or hurt us in the long run.
I do hate the fact that it was not introduced inside of grade school or anything of that nature. It kind of like we jumped from the pan to the fire, especially as far as like loans and student loans and things of that nature. We had no clue as to how it would affect us in the long run, but at the time it was the only solution we seen for a common problem. A lot of people wanted to go to school and to continue being in college, so they take all of the loans out,
Right.
not knowing the repercussions. But if there was someone that was like, yo, you gonna have to pay that back and pay more and things of that nature. But I was never in school. That wasn't even a conversation.
It wasn't. And even in college, for me, undergrad, I still didn't take a financial literacy class. Maybe because of the track that I decided to take, but I didn't take a financial literacy class. So it went from my mom sending me to school saying, don't work, I got you, throughout school, to me getting married and graduating and having to figure out, okay, now I got to learn how to save money. I have to plan to pay bills. I had to figure all those things out. And even at the age that I am right now, I'm still trying to figure a lot of it out to be a responsible adult, per se. But a lot of that we missed it.
We did, and we just waited for refund day. Every college kid can relate.
You're right. Every college kid can definitely relate. Waiting on refund check day. Because
class was empty on refund day.
we knew when they came.
But yeah, so like with me being a first time generation student and nobody in my family going to college, well, my older sister did, but she didn't finish. With me, I pretty much had to do everything on my own from FAFSA, and I know for a fact that my college advisor my high school advisor did not say, you would have to pay these back. I mean, you know what a loan is, but it's like, okay, probably by the time they want it back, I'm gonna be dead. It's not. You don't think that they gonna want it back as soon as you graduate. Like
you got 6 months.
So definitely relatable. And even with Sally Mae, like you said earlier, I didn't know about personal loan either. All I know is Vish, you told me I had a balance, and I was like, how the heck am I gonna pay this? And now I'm calling around. They gave me the reference to Sally Mae, and gosh, I got stuck with Sally Mae.
So who taught you the value of money?
Me, honestly, probably my mom. Well, my grandmother, just because she didn't necessarily teach me by, saying such and such, but it was more so watching her. Okay. Like me knowing how much things cost. When she bought my first car, I remember I had a Toyota Corolla 2001. Her name was Becky. Becky cost $5,000. I'll never forget, because I remember seeing the 5 on my way to school riding past the Ford, Cook County Ford. And in that moment, I was like, wow, cars cost this much? And then me getting my first job at 17, knowing I was only making $7.25 working at Hardee's, that's when I learned the value of it, because it's like my paycheck looked like this, and then I'm spending money, and it's like, my paycheck can't get me nowhere. So
this is true.
I'm gonna say my dad had a rule. Like, if there was something like a big thing that you needed, you had to give him 2 weeks notice. And it was like, I didn't understand it, but as I got older, it's like he get paid bi-weekly. So if you need these things, I need to take into account of all of the other things that I have to pay for, but I need this leeway to make sure you get the things that you need and the things that you want, because he's never told me no. Even at this big old age right now, I literally get whatever I want, but it's still, I need that 2 weeks. Like, and going knowing that, I always knew that I needed to have some type of schedule. Even though I wasn't paying bills, I still had to give him that time frame to get the things I needed. And then it made me realize I need to start preparing for the things that I need and making sure that I had a time frame to get those things.
So you were budgeting without even knowing.
Didn't even know. I was on his listen.
For me, I'm gonna say life taught me the value of money, and the reason I say life is because, like I said, my mom never told us no. If we asked for it, she was on her way to go get it. I didn't know behind the scenes, she was figuring it out and whatever she had to do to make it happen. So as an adult, I felt like there was no value to money. I could just get it. I could just go get it. That's what my mom had showed me, and realized life smacked me in the face when it didn't always work out that way. And I found myself always calling mom and saying, hey, I need help here, or I need help with this, and that's not the adult that I wanted to be. So, and I've always worked. I started working when I was 16, and I've worked all the way up till I went to college, and my mom didn't want me to work throughout school, but I didn't have to do anything with my check at 16 years old. When I went to school, my mom bought me a car, and so I didn't understand that until I got married, right? When I was not in high school. I got married in college. So that's when I started realizing, like, rent costs how much? And
For this?
bills. And right. And
Miscellaneous costs.
You
want to eat out?
you want to eat out? We need clothes. I got to get back and forth. I started commuting. I moved off campus and started commuting.
Laundry.
Life. So the value of money really smacked me in the face. And one thing that I did see from my mom is how her anxiety bothered her when she couldn't figure it out. And I didn't know that was the reason as to why until I got older, and she told me, you get that worrying from me, because I'll sit in front of my bill book and I'm like, oh God, okay, let me move this here, and try to figure things out. And that comes from my mom.
It's funny though that you have a bill book. There's people that are adults that just don't plan at all, and then wonder why everything's backed up, why they can't figure out how to take care of this, or they robbing Peter to pay Paul, when in hindsight they need to have a budget. They need to make these things happen, but they don't, and then they're completely underwater.
So you, Kiana, as a financial educator, I'm gonna say, what would you say works best? Does having a plan work best for people, or is it like really whatever?
So I don't believe one size fit all. I believe it depends on that person. If you are a planner, then by all means plan. Get you a planner. I'm actually working on creating a budget planner. Just knowing what you bring in monthly, knowing how much you spend, is my biggest thing. I'm a planner, so I literally know what my checks are. I have a weekly budget for my meals. I have a budget for, extra expenses, such as like getting my hair did, seeing how long my little girl hair is gonna last, if I need to get it once a month or every 2 weeks, my son's haircut. Like, I have budgets for all of that. And I have like different envelopes that I put it in. So like, I make a menu every Sunday. I make the menu for the week. So I'll know, how much this costs and how much this costs this day. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, baseball practice for me. Our days as a mom does not end until about 8 o'clock, 8:30. So I know Tuesdays and Thursdays are going to be McDonald's and pizza day. Like, it's going to be some type of fast food day. And then the rest of the week we have menus. And then, Wednesdays is when the trash truck comes. So Tuesdays is leftover days. Tuesday, literally, you eat whatever's in the refrigerator, and what don't get ate just get thrown away. So that's something that I did pick up from my dad. My dad being a dad of 6 kids, us growing up with him in the summertime, it's literally being like 10 of us in one house. You have to find different ways to budget and coupon and all of those things. So.
Okay. And that's a really good idea for me, I'm a planner. So, what we eating this week? And me and my husband, we had a conversation, or my husband and I, we had a conversation about just trying to be more specific and intentional about how we're spending and what we're spending it on. So at the beginning of the week, if we don't have a plan, we're eating out every day of the week too.
And it's easy to eat out and spend money.
And you don't see how much it cost you until the week over, and you're like, oh, I can't do that because it all went to food this week. So in you, both of your opinions, how would you say finances or the lack of finances affect your mental health?
And I used to get in a really bad space as far as like if I couldn't figure out how things were going to be paid for, I would shut down. And then I would actually, retail therapy. If I feel like I'm losing my mind, if I feel like I had a bad day, I should buy something that's gonna make me feel better. But then it's just gonna put me deeper in a deeper hole and things of that nature. So it was kind of like I had to make sure I took care of everything that needed to be paid for before I took care of my wants. And now that I've been able to keep that mindset and mantra, I always make sure all the bills are paid before I can say, hey, yeah, I'm going to go on this girls trip, or hey, yeah, y'all can't have these Jordans, or hey, yeah, I'm going to move to Georgia. Like, I had to make sure I put my needs before my wants, and and doing those things, I've been in a better headspace because I'm not worrying financially a lot.
How does finances or the lack of finances affect your mental health?
So the lack of finances does affect your mental health. To me personally, it literally affects your everyday life. Not only your mental, your physical, your emotional. It does bring depression, anxiety, worrying, lack of sleep, lack of eating. If you're trying to figure out, where's your next meal coming from. It can leave you feeling angry, ashamed, fearful. And it can cause arguments. As we talked about a little earlier, divorce being one of the biggest things. So it does cause arguments between the people that are closest to you. You may resort to unhealthy coping mechanisms such as drinking, abusing drugs, or even gambling, or in your case, retail therapy. Spending more money knowing that we don't need to be spending more money. In the worst circumstances, financial stress can cause suicide. Weight gain.
Stress
eating. Weight gain, yes. Stress can disrupt your appetite, causing you to either overeat or skip a meal to save money. Been there, done that.
I need to.
Anxiety. Money tends to be a safety net, and without it, you feel vulnerable or you feel anxious. Then you're worrying and you got unpaid bills, and it can trigger a lot of different symptoms. It can even cause panic attacks.
All the things are true. All the things are true. I am a serial retail shopper to control my anxiety spike when I am worried about financial things. And it's so backwards, because why would I spend more and I'm already worried about finances? But I do it, and for me it's just because of control.
Yeah.
I know I can control what I buy, what I spend, and I feel like if I just buy something that I like, then it'll help me calm down and refigure things out. But really, it just makes
temporary
things worse.
fix. Yep.
Yes.
It's just like alcohol, drugs, all of those other things.
Yes, all the things. Eating, I will stress eat in a second, even though I'm trying to work on that. I will stress eat in a second, and none of these things are healthy coping skills. They're just temporary fixes, like you said. Band-aids. And this is one reason why I wanted to have this conversation, because I know I'm not the only person who experienced this. I know finances for me drive my anxiety. And when I'm financially okay, I'm always worried about going back to a place where I've been before. And I don't ever want to go backwards. I don't want to go back to that place. And I know it's a reality sometimes, because you never know what can happen. So I've been fixated on my savings account. I've been fixated on paying off debt and trying to be this responsible adult that I feel like I missed out on getting a head step on a head start on that because I didn't have the tools to start when I should have started.
I know, I don't know, people ask you questions, but do you feel like you overcompensate sometimes because of being at a place where you might have didn't have, or you lack, certain meals? I've had someone tell me that, so that's what I'm asking. A lot of people that know me back when I was pregnant with my daughter, I had just had her actually, and I was pregnant with my son, and we struggled. We literally ate off WIC. Like, we ate Rice Krispies every day. I probably could have turned into a Rice Krispie. Between Rice Krispie and bread and peanut butter jelly sandwiches, or going to, the churches in Valdosta, picking up the bags of food, and literally all they had was spaghetti every day, so that's what we ate. It was a question that I tend to overcompensate now, because I do go to a lot of restaurants and I do spend hundreds of dollars on food. Because one thing I will do is spend my money on food. Like, if it's $150 steak and they tell me it's good, oh, let me try that. I'm gonna order that. So I often wonder, do people overcompensate sometimes on trying to make up for maybe their past or their previous experience of money? And
I feel like we had this conversation.
See, did you?
For me, I'm not going to say that I had a bad childhood, but there were things that I seen that I would never want my children to see. So I do feel like I overcompensate in that aspect financially, because my kids literally, whatever I'm going through, it does not touch them. My children have been on a plane more than some adults in their lives. They legit know what type of restaurants they do like, what type of restaurants they don't like. As far as their wardrobe, they literally can send a whole Amazon list or a Nike list or whatever, and they know that they're going to get it. But that was because I didn't have that when I was growing up. I didn't want for anything, but I didn't even ask, because sometimes I know me asking for something will put my mom in a space where she feel like she has to go and get it, but it would probably put her, I could see it on her face, or she's like exhausted because she's picking up extra shifts and things of that nature. So I do feel like I overcompensate when it comes to my children, because there's nothing that they don't have or can't have, because I know how it feels to want and not get.
I overcompensate. That's period. The end of sentence. And for me, it's because I only have one child, and for the last 6 years, I've been trying to have another kid, and I just haven't been able to. So I feel like I have to give my child the world, even when mommy don't have the world to give to you. If he asks for something, I have a really hard time saying no, because I feel like he's all I got, and I don't want him to want for nothing, and I might be creating a spoiled brat, but to me, it helps me to ease what's hurting inside of me. So if he says, Mom, can we go to Disney World? Oh, I'm going to make sure I make it happen, even if I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul to do it. So, yes, I definitely know that I overcompensate, but that's something that I'm trying to dial back, because I want to, at the same time, teach the importance of spending money, or the importance of everybody's not going to tell my kid yes. Everybody's not going to be able to.
That part I didn't do, and now I have a 10-year-old and my baby be 14, and they're so used to having and mommy giving that if somebody else is like, no, you can't have that, it's like, all right, well, now I gotta call my mom. Like, I don't even want to be around you. Like, go get my mom. My mom's gonna figure it out. And now it's like, I know that they're so used to having all of these things. My oldest is gonna go to college soon. He's gonna go through all of these things, and I did not prepare him for those things, because he's used to having.
Right.
But when you go to school, you might be eating noodles. Like, I don't know what your struggle will be in college and things of that nature. And I do feel like I didn't prepare them for that, because I literally had them, they were in the bubble. Like, they don't know the struggle of certain things. And I don't want it to smack them, but I know that
life has a way
life is one of life.
So we all just talked about us being in a place where we had to grow up out of, right? Do you think more money causes more problems?
Yes, absolutely. And I am learning that because I sit every day and be like, wow, I used to live off $600 every 2 weeks. And I was living. And now I'm making more than that. And it's just like, it's still the same problems. Like,
My husband and I have this conversation all the time. Our first apartment, our rent had to be like $349. And I remember us having a conversation like, whew, how are we going to pay that? And now we're looking at like $1,500 rents or $1,200 rent, and we could pay it, but it don't seem like nothing lightened up. Like, we making more money and we can afford these things. I might go back to being able to pay a $349 rent, because with more money, I still have that same stress. I still carry that. Well, how am I paying for that? Or how are we doing that? Or what? This is crazy.
more money definitely brings more problems. And the more money you make, it brings different types of problems. You're worried about, family members asking for things, or you got the IRS trying to take all that they can take. So I definitely feel like more money, more problems. Absolutely.
My mom told me one time, because you make more money, your wants and needs increase.
And it does.
So your budget has to increase. But it just seems like it's always increasing, and it's never, I don't feel like it ever balances out. Like, I'm always, I can get the things that I want, I can get the things that I need, but then I feel like that stress level is always there, and I know we have the income, but it just doesn't seem like it balances out.
It's because you know where you came from. So when you know where you came from, the idea of losing it all is always like sitting on your shoulders. Like, I got it, but tomorrow will I have it? And that's another reason why your anxiety goes through the roof when you're looking at the budget book or things of that nature. So that's why sometimes you just gotta give faith a chance, because you know that you're going to pay your bills. You know that these things are going to happen, but somewhere in the back of your head, you're still worried about things that you can't control. But that is also working on a control thing.
I mean, we come from seeing our parents work hard, like literally go at it.
And then we just want to work smarter, not harder.
And now this generation is finding ways to make it look a little bit easier, but just because it looks, and I think social media plays a big part in this.
Yes.
And just because it looks easier doesn't mean it's easier. But that working smarter and not harder part makes to some people think that I can get it easy. And then here we go with people scamming, frauding, finding shortcuts. And really, there's no shortcut. You still have to put in that same hard work.
The scamming is hard work. I'm serious. I look at people and I'm like, it gotta be a lot of hard work to not get caught.
That's
like,
what I'm
always
saying.
looking over your shoulders.
I could never be able to be on the other side of the law, only because my anxiety is terrible as a law-abiding citizen. So imagine stepping on the other side. I'm gonna be like, "Oh, you a cop?" Like it would be just way too much. Yeah, it would be way too much.
You will always be waiting for that shoe to drop.
Yeah, the shoe to drop. You gotta have a certain kind of malice in your heart to be able to do certain things.
But you know what? Social media plays a big role in that, because social media makes it seem like you always gotta have it. And we had the conversation earlier about, I lived in Philly, but I don't consider myself like I lived in Philly, because I never in Philly, to me, you have to look like you got it. You have to
kind of like Miami.
Yes,
you gotta look like
Miami, Atlanta.
Everything is
Atlanta for sure. It's like you literally gotta put on makeup every day.
Yeah, like listen, we were literally just talking about it coming here. I mean, about to record about how when I just moved down in the summer, and I legit had a time frame where I was literally coming out of the house and like just not anything, but anything.
But more chill, relaxed.
Yeah, because up there, like you have to, like you gotta have the nine, like I don't know. But you gotta have the $600 sneakers. Like you were walking around in the Golden Goose sneakers, and they $600, but they look like somebody walked in them all day long. And you you gotta have the extravagant dates, and you don't even know these people, but you gotta be at the bars, and you gotta spend the $350 on a bottle. It's a Tuesday, and now that's your whole budget for 2 weeks. So now you gotta try to figure out where to get more from. It's exhausting to know that you have to keep up this persona for who? And it's like who? Else. But it's like not even just social media, because some people don't. In Philly, there's a whole nother side of people who's never going to post it on the internet, because now you might know where I'm at. I can't allow you to know where I'm at, but it's like if you see me out, you gotta see the 16 bottles coming apart. You gotta see the watch. You gotta see the chain. Like, I have to have these things, even if it never hits the internet.
And that is part of the problem, because people think that they have to compete, they have to keep up, and so they go through all of these different means.
But that breeds the scammers. That breeds the people stealing the socials and all of that, because they need to keep up an appearance, and then when they don't have it, they learn that not even when you don't have it, nobody's around. So a lot of people that have issues with being lonely and things of that nature, they'll spend to make sure people stay around them. Absolutely. And as soon as they don't have it anymore, everybody goes, and that can cause depression. That can cause a lot of things.
Yeah. Right, and that wasn't one of the reasons why I wanted to have this conversation, because if nothing, I want people to know that it's okay not to have it. And it's okay to look like you don't have it, because I'm sure it costs you a lot less in your mental peace to not have it than it does to have to figure out how to have it when you truly don't. I went through a phase in my life where no, I ain't got it, and I was okay with that. And it took me a long time to get to that place where nope, I ain't got it. Even if I had it, and whoever I lost as a result of not having it, I was okay with that, because that showed me what you were around for in the first place. And I never was the type of person who needed the crowd or wanted social media to see something. But at one point I found myself wanting to buy nice things, and I questioned, why am I doing this? Why am I accepting these type of gifts? Or why do I want this? And then my husband said to me, it's because you're allowed to have nice things without it having to have a meaning behind it. And that took me a while to kind of like grasp that concept, because social media tells us that we get these things and we do these things because somebody else is looking.
And I'm the opposite right now. Like, I am so happy to be able to put my Crocs and sweatpants on and walk outside now. And I look in my closet, and it's like all of those bags up there, and I'm like, I don't even have a reason to put them on right now. But if I was in the city I'm from, I literally got to get dressed to walk to the corner store, because I don't know who's, not even because I'm expecting to see someone, but I'm hoping somebody don't see me and take a picture like, oh look, sis had a scarf on today, and things of that nature. It used to be so like, and this, why am I thinking like that? Why is that even a thought process? But it's because I know how deep it gets up there. So being down here, I literally took like 10 steps back, and it feels so good. But some people don't have that opportunity.
Some people just want, no, I'm not going to speak for some people, I'm going to speak for me. For me, the importance of learning how to balance and be financially better is because I want to break some generational things that I was taught or learned or picked up on that just don't suit the generation that I'm in right now.
Like working 4 jobs is totally not cool.
No.
Not taking time off when you're tired.
This is the generation of I quit. Like, people literally like you
This
what you
GM,
say? Listen, literally like what you say? All right. I'm not even giving you 2 weeks. Like,
you said what to me?
Yeah,
oh, okay,
I see you on the flip side. Like, not here, because I'm not coming back here.
And our parents and our grandparents' mottos, like, you gotta work hard to get it, but you don't have to always just accept everything and not working
Just
hard.
imagine the things, like the headspaces our parents were in, knowing that their bosses were taking advantage of them or overloading them with all of the things they should be doing themselves. But
Right.
because they know they need this job, they give them all of these tasks to do. And then now I can't even come home and be a parent. Like sometimes I'm so tired from being at work all day that I don't even know that you need a hug. And that's a lot of reasons why a lot of us are like, no, I'm taking today off so that I can spend with the kids. I'm going to this baseball game. I'm going to be present for this cheerleading competition because we did not see our parents enough
Right.
when we were younger.
And all of that plays a role. Like, I think, yes, our finances dictate our mood and things like that. But even outside of the financial part, what else am I missing out on? Where else am I lacking? And I think you start to go in that spiral of, if I don't work, then I can't do X, Y, and Z. But if I do work, or if I work too much, then I still can't do X, Y, and Z. And then there feels like there's no balance. And that no balance part is what throws us off.
I see on the internet, it's like a meme all the time, and it's like, if you die today, your position will be posted tomorrow.
And
it will. And that is the brutal honesty of the whole thing. So it's like, you should probably definitely do your 9 to 5 and work really hard to make that money, but you should work twice as hard to make sure you have another source of income, to make sure that if today or tomorrow you lost your job, you will be able to still take care of the things that you need to take care of.
Yes, I am all about a hustle, and I always see Kiana post about people having like residual income or other forms of income. And recently, you posted something about not just having one. No, you said what? You said something
having
about
one income is too close to none, and that don't sit right with me.
Yes, and I was like, girl, this is a word, because having one income doesn't have to mean, having more than one income doesn't have to mean I have several jobs that I clock in at. Because if COVID taught us nothing, it has taught us that the world knows how to adjust. And we've all learned how to utilize the internet to the best of our ability. And people are doing all kinds of things. Marketing, being creative.
OnlyFans. Just all of the things.
I like to think of incomes kind of like a table. It can't just stand alone on one leg. So that's how I kind of shaped my mind, I guess, to think of my income as a table, or knowing that at one point, I was one check away from being homeless. I said that on Facebook. Literally living in negatives. Like, my college friends, back in my undergrad years, I had 2 kids at the time, writing checks, they bouncing, because I'm from the old school, so I still wrote checks. Asking my friend, hey, can I borrow this? And I'm going to pay you back. We swiping our card, but it's in negative. But you need that gas to get around. So, I definitely feel like you should have more than one income, more than 2 if possible, even if it's something simple. Like, I know people try to make it feel like you got to just do something huge, but somewhere between maybe my generation and your generation, we are still big on to just saving. And what I mean by saving is we like to just have money sitting in the bank, not doing nothing for us, just to have that peace of mind of looking at our account saying, we got this. The money's not doing nothing for us. So why are we just allowing it to sit there? Then we got the generation behind us, which is what the Gen Z generation. And they are investing.
Yeah,
they are finding ways
is.
to put their money into passive things, making money while you're asleep. That's the best feeling ever. Wake up and you see you got some invoices paid or some cash out dinging. So absolutely, passive income. I'm definitely big on having passive income. Digital ebooks, any type of digital product. I know now we're in a world where classes is everything. Everybody wants to teach a class on everything. Literally,
So
they want to teach you a class on how to talk, which some people might need, but it's literally a class on everything. So even if you have like this master skill, teaching a class about how to do it, or going to different locations, doing trainings, like I said, ebooks, planners, it's a multitude of things you could really be doing. Everybody's into Airbnb and CDLs now. Airbnb is big. It's real big, especially once people found out that you don't have to own the property to do Airbnb. Vending machines.
Yeah,
everybody's into that.
Coming. Yeah, that's.
But I feel like vending machines is a lot of footwork. What else we got?
Gotta make sure the product don't expire, things of that nature. You gotta
and then when you have multiple locations, you gotta have people running for you. So yeah, definitely. But yeah.
So let me ask y'all this: if you knew what you know now, would you have started planning better or earlier?
Both.
I mean, not one or the other, but would you have done it?
Absolutely. I might not have had 2 kids. You know, like just they say that when you have a child, you're $150,000 in debt from the beginning. Like
that's how much a baby costs.
That's what they say. But that was years ago. We didn't
probably about 350.
So I would have definitely started planning differently and better, because now that a lot of kids don't even want to go to college. I don't know what like I said, I'll have a 14-year-old at the end of this month. And I want him to know that sky's the limit, but shoot for the stars. But I don't know what stars he's going to shoot for. He's not athletic. I don't want him to feel like he has to be a rapper. I don't know where he's going to go with whoever he wants to be. But I need to be prepared for it. So I do think I would have planned different and better. But knowing what I know now, I still have a lot of time to prepare and be ready for the things, whatever he needs.
I agree. I definitely would have prepared better for college. I've been in college, 10 years. And people think I love it, which I do. I love learning. But I'm also there because I got student loans that I don't really ever want to pay back until I do my 10 years at my job, or hopefully until I become a millionaire next year. So I'm just staying in school.
Next year, y'all heard that.
I am staying in school until then. I definitely would have did my student loans different. I wouldn't have done the max in my early years. My freshman year of college, they was like, "Oh, you can get this." I'm like, "What? I ain't never seen this much money at one time before. Give it all to me." Like, I didn't know you could only take the bare minimum of what you needed for your classes. I seen 9,000, so I wanted the whole 9 for fall semester. I definitely would have did that different. I probably would have not moved out of my mom's house so fast. I know a lot of us glorify trying to be independent, but I pray that my child knows that she can always stay at home if she needs to. I moved out at 18, being pregnant.
I would still be there.
I would have stayed. I was trying to be, I didn't want to raise my kid by myself.
Exactly.
Right. I told my baby dad, hey, you finna do this with me, so we're gonna get an apartment together. And that's what happened. And if I knew what I know now, I definitely would have stayed in my mom's house. I would have did a lot of things different. I probably would have definitely would have been rich right now. For sure.
What's your basement look like?
I absolutely agree. I would have done so many things differently. And I think if we would have just had different conversations with, like, say, our parents, grandparents, just the adults in our lives, if we would have had different conversations with them, then maybe we wouldn't have felt like we needed to move out when we moved out, or maybe when I used to say, man, I can't wait to get grown, I can't wait to be an adult. I tell kids all the time, you gonna choke on those words when you become an adult, because
you could go.
0 stars.
Yes.
Do not recommend.
Don't leave a review on being an adult. If I could go back and change things or do things differently, maybe not change, but just do some things differently, I would have set myself up a lot different than what I had done. And I'm okay in life right now, but knowledge, we could always be better. If your finances are in order, does that automatically change your mood, and vice versa? If
Absolutely. Because you hear all the time, if you broke, you shouldn't want to have sex. Let's just be honest. And in relationships, I know, like, don't touch me. We got rent due. We about to get evicted. Why is you trying to do anything? So absolutely.
It's the biggest in the first. Listen, this is the first income ever. Like, let's be clear. But never. and
But
less
yeah.
time. Let's see, like,
Finances definitely changes your mood.
You
Definitely.
be happy. Like, I love income tax time. If you notice, everyone's
world is
happy.
happy.
Yes, and
People
then you get
giving
the
money
winter
away.
depression.
I was about to say, you
Get
know, Christmas time is
Yeah.
People
seasonal
feeling
depression
inadequate
and
of
things
doing,
of that
yep.
nature.
Yep.
I always talk about a seasonal depression, right? Because
Yes, because I have it personally.
and it's a thing, but because you just said that, it made me think in my mind, like, there's a reason why it's not the seasons. A lot of people think that it's just because of the weather and the it gets dark earlier. That definitely plays a role, but the stress that the end of the year adds to a lot of people. If I'm already struggling financially and I have kids that I have to provide for, we don't want them to not be able to enjoy the things that their friends are enjoying, or at least what it looks like other people are enjoying. And that plays a big role. And then January roll around and everybody's getting excited because
I love January.
it's income tax
People
time.
are so happy. Like, it's the best. You got restaurants, you know, making money. It's just a great
Everybody's
feeling.
buying them a car.
I definitely agree with what Kiana said as far as like relationship wise. Like, if there's, especially as a woman, like if I feel like I gotta take on the brunt of the responsibilities financially, it's not even don't touch me. It's really, why are you here?
I can do that by myself.
And sometimes people don't understand that it's a rough patch or it's a bad relationship. Some things, so people are in relationships because of the car note. Like, people are in relationships.
Convenience.
Because they're like, because if I got a roommate, because I don't know if I got a partner, but if I got a roommate, you paying your half, I'm paying my half, now we got somewhere to stay. But if I step out of this relationship and leave you alone, I might not have somewhere to sleep.
Right.
And those things will keep you in bad spaces for a long time. And it might make you go from bad to worse.
Granted, there is a disclaimer that, sometimes in relationships, if you ain't got it, I got you.
But that's why I said
that can't be the space that we live in, where you just don't have it and I always gotta have it, or vice versa.
But is it because you in a bad space? Like, maybe if you lose your job and you took care of the household all of this time, then I got you. But if you're just content with playing your video game because I'm going to work every day, no, we can't. That's not how life is at this age. And some people be thinking that they have to stay with people because they were together for so long or things of that nature. No, if their aspirations and things aren't matching yours, you got to do some reevaluating. And if the money ain't coming in, some got to go out. But
I never want to be in a place in life, in relationships, or anything where I'm just stagnant. I want to definitely always be moving and moving forward. May take a few steps back, but I always want to be on go. Like, I'm looking ahead. And so, if nothing, I want people to be able to take away from this conversation that it's okay to grow. It's okay to focus on your future, and it's okay to not have to be seen. Sometimes, we got to stay down till we get up.
I was about to say, it's okay to buckle down for a bigger comeback also.
Yes.
Like, if you need to take time where you're literally, if it's a year, if it's 6 months, where there's I'm not eating out, I'm not spending unless it's a bill, I'm not doing these things because you have a vision, do those things. Don't ever allow anybody to make you feel like what you're doing isn't enough.
Absolutely. And stop. I wish there could be like some limit or pause on social media where we get in those spaces where you're looking at people and it seems like they got it or they're enjoying life, and it makes people feel like what they're doing isn't enough. Stop looking at that stuff and judging yourself, thinking that that's a reflection of you. You might have it way better than what you're seeing other people, and they just feel like they have to showboat it in certain ways.
We need to be able to have those kind of days like that. When Instagram and Facebook was just down last week, there should be like a week. Like, they should just literally take social media offline for like a week, depending on, because some people make their income like that. Maybe not a week or anything like that, but just no access to it so that you can actually probably go outside and say hi to somebody, talk to an actual person or something like that.
So if you had to tell somebody who's listening something to sum up everything that we talked about, what would you say, Nia?
I would say what I just said basically. If it's okay to buckle down to become better, and I will also say that if you are struggling with finances and it's bothering you with your anxiety or things of that nature, write it down. Figure out a plan so that you can always make sure you're taking care of your needs before you take care of your wants.
Okay, I think that's great. Kiana, what would you say?
I say educate yourself. And I wanted to go back to where in the beginning you asked the question of, are we a product of our environment or are we a product of our choices? And I sat and thought about that. And what I wanted to say was, unconsciously, our environment provides us with, different things that make us behave in a certain way in order for us to survive, right? So as an individual, your behavior is controlled and influenced by your environment and the people that we grow up with or the people that we surround ourselves with. Our intelligence gives us the ability to adapt to whatever we are exposed to. We have the power to reason, to make moral choices based on thought given to possible future outcome.
So both.
Both.
We are a product of our environment because that's how we were raised, that's what we grew up on. But as an adult, now your choices are what dictates what happens.
If we want more, we have to learn and educate ourselves to know more. We have to put ourselves out there. Because we don't always know, about credit or about finances, but there are so many resources available if you really want to know these things to get the education for it.
So I would tell everybody who's listening to just keep going. If something doesn't seem to be working for you, think about what it looked like and try doing something different. Sometimes we fall into patterns and think that those patterns have to stay what they are, and they don't. We are right now in a world of breaking those patterns, breaking the things that just because somebody else told us that this is what was supposed to be done or how it's supposed to be done or what works doesn't mean it works for us. So do something different until you figure out what works for you, and stop feeling like you have to do something just because somebody else is doing it. Kiana, would you please tell everybody how to find you, contact you, utilize all that knowledge and resources that you have?
Yes. I also wanted to add to what you were saying briefly.
Okay.
And always remember, guys, like, you don't have to compete with nobody. Your biggest competition should be yourself. Just be better than you were the day before. That's how I keep going, and that's what I preach to a lot of people. Just be better than the day before. And if you mess up, it's okay. Just make better choices next time. But you can follow me on Instagram at Keys Consulting. You can follow me on Facebook at Keys Consulting. You can go to my website, www.keysconsultinginc.com. Or you can follow my personal Facebook page, Kiana Brown, as well. And like I said previously, while we were talking, I am working on creating a budget planner as soon as I get everything together. Hopefully, what's this month? October. Hopefully it'll be ready by December is the goal. I've been working on it for over a year now. So that will be exciting to look forward to. Oh, and I want you guys to save the date of February 5th, 2022.
All right, exciting things coming.
Yes, yes.
Things
So we like to end every episode with a Would You Rather.
Okay.
And today's Would You Rather is, would you rather have unlimited amount of money in your bank account or on your credit cards, but can only pay or buy necessities, or live check to check with all your wants and desires?
Live check to check with all my wants and desires.
Okay, why?
Simply because I think my needs may be different.
Okay.
My needs change. And if it's something, what's the point of having money if you can't get what you want? I mean, we work hard for the things that we want, not really the things that we need, if we're being honest. Because if you notice, people tend to use their money for wants versus, the things that they need. So definitely, I would rather live check to check for wants and desires. I have done that before, so it's normalized to me. So I'm going to go with that.
Okay, what about you?
I'm going to check the check. Can't
Period.
take that money with me. I can't take that money
Can't do
with me. And I
nothing.
can't even buy the stuff. I got all this money and I'm still not getting what I want.
Still
No,
struggling.
listen, I'll take that. I'll figure it out when I got to. But I want this right now.
I'm also going with check the check because of some of the same reasons that you guys both said. People doing it right now in real life, getting what they want over what they need. And I want to be able to enjoy some of the things that I work hard for in life. So I'm going with check the check with my wants and desires, and I'm going on girls trips.
I think that's what
We
keeps us
outside.
going, you know? Like, that's the reason we work.
Right.
Because if we were working and not getting our needs, then what's the point?
And that brings about the anxiety and depression and things
The
that...
social withdrawal, yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
So thank you guys for tuning in and kicking it on the blue couch with us. We hope to see you next time right here on the blue couch.
Bye, guys.
Bye.